Well, it probably was planned for a long time. But the Russians, having said they're protecting their own people, they can use the same excuse again. Because, they're looking at all these events, as I keep saying, and they're saying, well, when is our turn? They only have to look at Iraq and see what's happened down there. These people are not fools. They know what is going on. They're not deceived by the controlled media. Putin said a few days ago, we have to stop the United States. He meant it. And to prove his point, he acted. All of Bush's talking didn't bother him one whit. The Olympics didn't cause him to lose focus. He's a lieutenant colonel of the KGB. He's a genuine and a very serious warrior. He's not a conscript dodger. Have you ever seen him smile? I'm sure he does, but you don't see many pictures of him smiling. It is also very instructive to note that we keep seeing the same nations turn up every time there's trouble. Israel has invested heavily in Georgia. They want Georgia's oil. The United States are there. Well, Russia is saying, nope, get out of my backyard. So at this really critical time in Earth's history, our time, I think it's time for us to start praying, because I'm sure we are coming right up against the wire. Now, in the scriptures, there are many, many scriptures that deal with the day of the Lord, and you will find this several times in the book of Joel. So the day of the Lord seems to be the precise time that Christ intervenes and starts to punish all the nations of the earth. Well, as I say, I'm not going to keep repeating what I did in the There Is No Revival message, so I urge you to look at it. Now, in Joel it talks about the king of Babylon, but it also focuses on the end time and this period leading up to the day of the Lord. We don't have to manipulate the Bible verses to come to the conclusions we come to. But the day of the Lord is a time of gloominess and great pain. It is clear that it is not something to be desired. So if your pastor or your minister or whosoever is telling you that it is Sunday and it is something to be desired, you better carefully check out what you're being told. And more importantly, what other lies you are being told, because it can make a great difference to your physical survival. Amos makes it clear that the day of the Lord is not something to be desired. It says, Amos 5:18, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Verse 19, Amos 5, as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. So that's what the day of the Lord is going to be like. So, having established the end marker, this activity of the northern army and Jacob's trouble seems to be just prior to the day of the Lord. As many events are taking place at the same time. So it's possible the sequencing is not 100% correct, but it is in the time just prior to the day of the Lord. And by that I mean within just a very few years of that. So Jacob's trouble, Jacob was his original name, which the Eternal changed to Israel after Jacob wrestled with the angel of the Lord all night. But this is the time of judgment and punishment, which will continue under the Antichrist and through the tribulation. See, Genesis 32:28, this is when he was told, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And we have defined that we've got documents and videos telling you when we talk about Israel, we are speaking about the English-speaking nations worldwide, and at least the French, and there probably are more, but that's where we're sent to give our warning message, so that's our prior concern. You know, and we're going to be punished because we have been so rebellious and unthankful in spite of the incredible blessings that we have been given for hundreds of years. You see, I mentioned about a woman in labor. Jeremiah 36 brings this point. He says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child." So this is how we've got to see it. It's a time of trouble. It's a time of pain. But, you know, God is very merciful. And if you look at Jeremiah 30, starting in verse 4, and go down to Jeremiah 8, what's interesting, that whole thing, Jeremiah 34 to 8, deals with punishment, severe, fair punishment. Okay? But it starts, the prior verse, verse 3, and the verse afterwards, verse 8, gives us some hope. Some hope. Because it says in Jeremiah 33, "For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it." And that bring again is God taking away their captivity. It means, as I've said before, it's an idiomatic expression which means I will restore the fortunes of. But notice it then says, and I will cause them to return. So that hasn't happened. The people down there in the nation called Israel have not been put there by the eternal God. So that's another subject, but it's important to realize that. And, you know, this restore the fortunes of is used many, many times. You'll find it in Jeremiah 30:18, Jeremiah 31:23, Ezekiel 39:25, and Joel 3:1. And Amos 9:14 says, "And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them." That is after the destruction of Israel, as we explained completely in our There Is No Revival. It tells us that this northern army is going to utterly decimate the country and leave everything flattened, just like the Russians have done where they attacked in Georgia. Leave nothing unscathed, but on a much worse scale. You know, you can have a look at our document and video, Jerusalem, the nation called Israel, and biblical Israel, their fate.